Well, thank you very much for the very kind introduction and also for the nice talks that were held in front of me. I think we learned a lot about what is ahead of us, and in the next minutes I want to dive a bit deeper into the why. Why is all this relevant for you? And also the how. How will this translate into, well, the industries as a whole? So I will not cover the travel industry for the moment, but give you like a broader sense about what is happening out there in the field of blockchain technology. So just a few words about myself. My name is Stephan. I'm the COO, the Chief Operating Officer at Immutable Insight, and also the Token Readiness Lead. I will come to this in a second and explain you what that exactly means. I did my PhD at the Technical University of Munich exactly on that topic, and before that I was in consulting. Immutable Insight, in the end, as it was already mentioned in the introduction, has like two product sides. On the one hand side, we make financial products investable for retail investors and professional investors. On the other hand side, we offer what we call token readiness. And this is divided into two things. On the first side, we enable companies to generate business in the token economy, be it by generating new value streams, new business streams, but also by increasing efficiency. And on the other hand side, some of you might be aware that there is a new regulation upcoming starting 1st of January 2024, the MiCA, the Markets and Crypto Asset Regulation, which brings a lot of security and also safeness. We heard a lot about the scams earlier in this industry, and we support in setting up your business under these regulations. So token readiness, what does it mean, and why do we believe in the token economy? We have like three hypotheses, working hypotheses that we work on, that I will also use today to guide through this next minutes. So the first one is blockchain enables token economy. Well, that sounds quite easy and trivial, right? And we heard this earlier when Ralph was talking, that blockchain transforms or disrupts the way of interaction. We heard about Web 1.0 earlier, where information was a one-way street, right? Someone at the very beginning put information on the internet and you could read it. And you thought, well, that is so cool. I have the football results and the weather on one page. What do I want more? But then things developed further, and we came to Web 2.0, so-called platform economy, and I think all of you have heard that these companies that are up there on the screen do not produce any content themselves, but the users produce it. So from this one-way street, reading information only, we developed into a read and write component in this industry. And also there you could do definitely some kind of interaction, some kind of e-commerce, but you always needed this middleman that we also talked about earlier already. In Web 0.3, this completely changes because the token economy also allows ownership in this context. Maybe a quick hands up. Who of you has read the white paper for Bitcoin? Well, quite a few. That's cool. Actually, the most important thing of these 9 pages, and those of you who haven't read it should definitely do it because it gives you a great understanding on just 9 pages what blockchain is all about. But the main component is already in the abstract, where it says Bitcoin/blockchain technology solves the so-called double spending problem. Because in the traditional world, when you have like a digital file, you can send it to everyone in the room. You can simply copy it. There is no ownership behind this picture, behind this file. In a decentralized, you can, well, of course, you can use notaries or lawyers or a trusted intermediary like a bank to validate that this transfer happens. But in a decentralized world, this transfer of ownership can happen peer-to-peer without any trusted intermediary. And this is the key component of blockchain technology, and this is also what the Bitcoin white paper highlights on the first page, a decentralized transfer of ownership and assets. So what does it mean? We believe that this token economy is one of the biggest opportunities of our generation, as it creates new business models on the one hand side, and it makes processes much more efficient. So why is that? If you think about like how the whole space evolved over time, and German, you already told about that a lot of people mix up blockchain. Well, that's Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is so volatile, I'm not going to use it. Well, that's also a process there, right? Because we started with Bitcoin in 2008, which was a new thing, but it was kind of people thought, well, these are some nerds playing around with electronic money, well, let them do. But out of this, then Ethereum developed a bit later. Ethereum, I always say, Ethereum is the Apple App Store for crypto assets. So you have the base layer Ethereum, and you can put whatever application you want on this App Store. So this pure means of payment, Bitcoin, suddenly got a utility because you can use it for your purposes. And then also regulators, so this is like the German example, but as I said earlier, on the European level, also regulators came to the conclusion, well, that's actually a cool thing that we can use in a lot of industries. And from there, we are already developing in the token economy, which gives us a lot of opportunities. So why is that? I think this is a very important slide, because it was said earlier that the value of a network depends on its users, and the wallet users are steadily growing. That is called the Metcalfes Law. So the number, the value of a network grows to the square number of users connected to the system. And if you think about a market, what a market is, so the market potential today is defined as the price times the number of users that you can reach. And users, in the common sense, are people. In a decentralized world, together with IoT, so the Internet of Things, where machines can interact, this number of users will increase significantly, because you're not talking about users as people, but you're talking about users as people plus machines. And this gives you the unique opportunity that small niche business models that were completely irrelevant in earlier days are now becoming very relevant and very profitable, because you have this huge amount of users, including machines, working in this environment. And the last thing is the token economy is creating unprecedented amounts of data, and leveraging this data gives companies a competitive advantage. I don't want to go too deep into like data analytics for the moment, but since everything in the blockchain world is on-chain, you of course have a better understanding from a compliance perspective, how to do like anti-money laundering checks, but also from a understanding your client's perspective. And especially the last 2 points, I want to point out in some examples of how companies out there are already utilizing blockchain technology. So the first one is about tractors. There's an Austrian tractor company called Lindner, and they work together with Cash on Ledger, which is Munich-based. And what they do is they improve the financing process and the payment process for heavy machinery. So pay-per-use models, or assets as a service. The whole idea of assets as a service is nothing new, right? So instead of that, the manufacturer kind of gets a loan, and the farmer gets a loan, and you kind of need to buy the whole stuff and need to repay your debt. There's just an investor who gives money to the manufacturer and gives money to and then rents out the tractor to the farmer. That is nothing new. What is new in this context are two components. First of all, due to the facts that the invoicing between the farmer and the investor is done via smart contracts, you do not need any back office any longer, because the payment of what you used, so the tractor, can be done in real time. Because in the tractor, there's so many sensors that kind of capture. If you're just driving on the street, then it's like 30 cents per minute. If you're driving with a machinery connected to it, then it's 50 cents per minute. And if you're connecting like a heavy machinery, then it's like 80 cents per minute. So all these data are automatically captured in the sensors. And until now, the general concept for pay-per-use is, well, then you just get the data on a USB stick or maybe even digitally to the back office. Then there's someone sitting and putting together all these usage data in an Excel sheet, probably sends out an invoice, takes time. Why not using smart contracts and having like a real-time invoicing based on the data that you have? You have so much administrative backbone that you can reduce there, which is like a massive reduction and increase of productivity. And the second thing, which you can see on the right-hand side, is that you create massive amounts of data. We had a project with a company selling like very heavy machinery, and they do not even have a understanding, because they have so many manufacturing sites. They do not even have a common understanding what if the client is using machinery of different manufacturing sites, because they do not match the data. Yeah? So every client data is decentralized, centralized in the different spots. By data on the blockchain, you have all these data in a single spot. You can understand what the client is doing internally. But since we are talking about like wallets and wallet-based identities, I think we come to that at a later point of time. We also have the opportunity to do this like cross-customer, to understand if my client that also has like low trading volumes in my company is maybe one of the largest clients at one of my competitors. So this whole topic of data analysis and analysis of customer behavior gives us opportunities that are not here in the traditional world. The second use case is about the girl's best friend, diamonds, or better to say, the security and supply chain behind luxury goods. So there is a blockchain consortium called Aura, which was initiated by LVMH, Prada, and Cartier/Richmond. And what they do is they put luxury goods on a blockchain. So the whole process of like sticking to the example of the diamond ring, the whole process of like getting this diamond, understanding where it comes from, the purchase of the diamond, the distribution, like who is pre-owning it, and also like kind of the aftercare, similar to your car, where you have like the list when was the last maintenance and stuff. This is all saved into a blockchain. What is the advantage? You have a transparent, full process of what is happening in this industry. You have a proof of authenticity. Well, we can also argue, well, with each of my Rolex watches, I have like a paper certificate, but well, these are very easily to fake. So this is like immutable on the blockchain. And also there are also other features, like if you have like a Rolex that is 30, 40 years old, it's working perfectly, but you do not really know like who was the pre-owner. With this kind of record keeping, you can also have like in 30, 40, 50 years, a full understanding of how many pre-owners were there, what kind of adjustments to the watch were made, how often have they been repaired, and all this stuff. You have all these kind of information in real time. Now you can think about, well, that's nice. I'm not sure if I need this, but think about in a broader context. This whole supply chain topic also becomes relevant from a regulatory perspective, because starting in 2026, all the batteries that are above 2 kilowatt hours need the so-called battery passport. So every car needs to or every battery, it's not only cars, yeah, but you need to understand where was this battery manufactured, what is in there, who was using it the last time, and so forth and so on. You're coming into the circular economy. And you have so many data that you simply need to store, need to understand that blockchain is really a great example of how to save and how to understand and how to analyze this data. And there's also a German startup called Spherity that is offering exactly these kind of product passes to the public. The third topic that I want to talk about is the so-called real estate industry. You might have heard about some ideas where real estate is made investable via tokens. Yeah, so I come from Munich. Real estate prices are relatively high. If you don't have just 1 million euros to buy, like, what is it, 20 square meters maybe, you are unable to invest in real estate. But with these tokens, a real estate object can just be fractionalized, and there are service providers like these two on the slide here, but also like Exporo in Germany. They offer real estate investments starting from 50, 100, 500 euros. So even a nurse that is relatively underpaid in Germany has the opportunity to invest into real estate. Well, again, that's nice. You can also buy a fund, a real estate fund, where then you cannot decide what's in there. But okay, what we now do is, and we're talking with a lot of companies at the moment, be it project developer, but also facility management companies, to put the whole real estate process on the blockchain. Because think about what happens. If you are a project developer and you buy a plot of land and you think about, well, that's so great, I have like all my geodata, I have some kind of expert opinions, I have my owner history, you store all this data in an NFT, so just a non-fungible token, or to keep it easy for the beginning of this afternoon, in a very smart data room. And you have all this information here. And if you want to sell this property, this land, in 2 years or 3 years or 10 years, you just like hand over the NFT and you have all the data in there. You do not need any person that runs into the archive, checks out, well, where was the folder with the expert? I'm going to do a new one. Yeah. So you increase efficiently massively. In the next step, in the project development phase, for example, you can think about like and that's what we also discussed earlier, to have all the parties involved in constructing this building be automatically paid based on their progress, based on smart contracts. And this helps you also that everything that is included in this building is visible and transparent for the whole topic of green certificates and CO2 certificates, because you know what is included in this building, you know where the stuff comes from. That makes it very easy to calculate all this stuff. And now we come to the building management, where you have rents and utility costs simply invoiced via smart contracts. So if you are like, if you're a tenant, yeah, and you live in your flat, when is the utility bill coming? Well, maybe September for last year. Well, this should be there at high noon on 1st of January, because everything is transparent there. And also, like, looking further than usage improvement, if you consider that not only just the building, but the whole the area is based on blockchain, you can think about, well, there was Corona, no one is using offices anymore. We can think about doing nice lofts out of that based on the data that is available on the blockchain. So including this value chain in a token ecosystem brings so much more efficiency and so much more transparency that is valuable for everyone involved in this process. These were just some examples, and there are so many more. I put some of them up here. I've already mentioned trade lanes for the shipping industry, and Daimler was also mentioned earlier. There's so many companies already investigating what blockchain means for them, and also already working on solutions that improves their efficiency and that improves their customer experience. That from our perspective, that is relatively clear. There is no chance that you are not getting involved in the token economy. So, well, perfect timing, I would say. I'm running out of time. I will be here this afternoon, also the next couple of days, if you want to talk a bit further about some of these projects or your topics, how you can utilize blockchain technology, then feel free. Otherwise, thank you for listening, and talk to you later.